my practical exam? Well, I lied. In this bonus section, I'll be talking about a report called Joe Loanshark, where I play the role of an assistant to a criminal. This is how I was caught. My character is named Roman Bellic, aka Leon Fraud. He's 30 years of age, is about 5'10", 190 pounds. His home record is Belgrade, Serbia, and he currently resides in Marin County, California. His occupation is assistant manager at a loan company. His hobbies include drinking, soliciting prostitutes, and expensive clothes shopping. He loves to brag about that stuff. And of course, his alias is Leon Fraud, Uncle Leo, or as passerbys he's call him, that creepy Russian guy. Now, the interesting thing about Roman Bellic is is the reason why he came. And this is why my character came. And it reads as before I came to America, I was a conscript in the Serbian military for 3 years by choice, versus the mandatory 6 months required by Serbian law. In the service, I met with Kuzman Grolovic, aka Joe Loanshark. Guzman and I went through basic training together and ended up in the same unit. Over the course of our 3 years in the unit, we built a strong bond. I told Guzman that I've joined the military not just for the thrill of the job, but also for the benefits it offered. However, the benefits were not enough for him. He wanted more. He wanted to live a lavish life with fast cars, beautiful women, and the best booze money could buy. Then Guzman made a tempting offer I could not refuse. From there, he started to share information about his connections with Russian organized crime, specifically black market vendors. He was quite adept at getting illegal contraband, stolen money and goods, and forged documents into his possession. He said that once we were out of the service, that we should go to America and build a dream together. He said we could make a killing by scamming Americans over the phone under the guise of a loan company. I was skeptical at first, but once he explained the details of his plan, everything seemed to make sense to him. There was nobody in the world he trusted more than Guzman, so I took him up on his offer. Once we got out of the service, Guzman gave me money for a one-way plane ticket to California, a fake ID and passport, and enough money to get a car and an apartment above average comfort. From there on out, I was known as Leon Fraud, as his ID states. Now, as far as how Leon Fraud's plan, this is how it goes. Once Joe and I settled in California, we started to get to work establishing our loan scan operation. The plan would go as follows. Step 1. Buy real estate for the operation to happen. Step 2. Build the operation up as Sunnybrook Loan Company and make it appear legitimate. Hire employees, buy information service using Joe's crimes connections, acquire the proper credentials to clear us with local law, and build a credible work reputation. Step 3. Wait a minimum of 2 years while I gather the names, addresses, banking information from the computer servers every night using the 16 terabyte hard drive after closing time, making sure employees were gone first, of course. Step 4 is to take the hard drive home to my apartment and store the stolen information on a stolen cheap laptop, attached to 8 internal hard drives attached through a SATA cable, then linked through RAID 10 disk partition attached to that laptop. Of course, everything that we used for this scam was bought by Joe's Russian crime connections. Step 5. Establish fake bank accounts using social security information of dead people. Each person had to be close to age to him and hold a similar occupation. Once made, detailed files were established of the fake bank accounts. And when we made those accounts, we made sure that those accounts were made spaced out every 2 months. Then, once 10 accounts were made over the course of 2 years, we stopped that process. Now, step 6. Once the bank accounts have been made and 2 years have passed, by then 10 accounts should have been made, we find the perfect sucker to start off our scam. Our perfect sucker was Spam Daniels, a college student drowned in debt. This kid tried to get a loan in his parents' name without their permission because his parents wouldn't give him money and wanted to teach him personal responsibility. Spam had a joint account with his parents who had over $90,000 in the bank, which is quite a lot as a matter of factly. Kind of feel bad for the kid. Step 7. Using the bank information we gathered from Spam, we gained access to his parents' account and stole that $90,000. Step 8. We then split the money amongst the 10 bank accounts through electronic banking around the US. Step 9. We found a guy desperate and stupid enough to be our money runner. Any run-the-mill greedy idiot will do. We promised him a cut of the money we made and gave him the resources necessary to drive from state to state, gathering the money from the accounts. Then step 10, once we had that runner gather that money, we told him to transfer those funds electronically to us, to our main account, meaning Joe and Leon's account. And that's the case background. Now, as far as the laws that I broke, most of them fall under California Penal Code. Now, the first one we broke was larceny. When I stole the information from the Sunnybrook loan servers in Step 3, I violated Part 1 of the Crime Against Property, Title 13, Chapter 5, Larceny, Section B, Paragraph 1 and 5 of California Penal Code. Paragraph 1 states that gaining access to any computer unlawfully to cause output of any sort is a crime. This is when I put my 16 terabyte hard drive in the Sunnybrook servers with the intent of outputting the personal information of customers onto it. Paragraph 5 states that any device or collection of devices that perform functions including, but not limited to, logic, arithmetic, data storage, and retrieval communication and control used for the above purposes. Not only did I steal the information of thousands of people every night after closing hours when everyone was gone, but I stored it on a personal hard drive to be used later. According to Section D of the same chapter of Title 13, for every count of the above violation is 2 to 3 years in jail or a $10,000 fine. The next law I broke was possession of stolen goods and money. When I made the calls to Joe's illegal trading contacts from Russia to make the scamming operation possible, I was in violation of Code 2315, sale or receipt of stolen goods, securities, money, and fraudulent tax stamps. This is the first and only federal law that I broke. The code states that whoever receives, possesses, conceals, stores, barters, sells, or disposes of any goods, wares, or merchandise, security, or money at the value of $5,000 or more. This is the estimated value of the stolen goods I received from the Russians based on Amazon values. For the 10 terabyte internal hard drives for storing the stolen information, that's about $1,600. For the bay I used to store the hard drives mentioned above, that's about $100. Now the Junker HP laptop that I used to manage the hard drives is $290, about average. For the 16 terabyte hard drive I used to copy and transfer the stolen information, that's about $800. Now, for the money stolen by Spam, that's $90,000. So that totals into about $11,790.00, all combined. Anybody caught with this crime will be put in federal prison for up to 10 years. And as you can see, this goes way above the $5,000 limit it's mentioned in this law. The next law that I broke was in California Penal Code under forgery. When I made those fake bank accounts, I was in violation of Chapter 4, PC 470, Section D of California Penal Code. It states that any of the following items passed as genuine, knowing the same to be false, altered, forged, or counterfeited, is guilty of forgery. Any checks, bonds, bank bill or note, cashier checks, travel check, money order, post notes, drafts, etc. This is a felony in the state of California. And violators get 3 years in state prison for every offense. Since I've forged 10 of these accounts, I'm looking 30 years in prison just for that. Aren't I nice? The next law I broke was a bit on the small side. This is when I was soliciting somebody to commit a crime. When I bribed the random person to deposit stolen money into the 10 forged bank accounts, I was in violation of California Penal Code 653F Section A, solicitation to commit a crime. This section states that every person who, with the intent that the crime be committed, solicits another to offer, accept, or join in the offer or acceptance of bribe, or to commit or join in the commission of carjacking, robbery, burglary, grand theft, etc., etc. Unless the solicitation of the crime involves drugs, murder, forcible sex, then I'm considered a wobbler, which is a person who solicits people for non-violent crimes. In my case, this counts as a misdemeanor, in which case I get 1 year in the county jail. Like I said, it's small. Now, here's the fun part: how I got caught. Firstly, I did not consider that servers save the input activity of devices that are connected to it. Despite our efforts to keep our activities offline as much as possible, it did not cover our tracks fully. I got careless and did not delete my activity in the event viewer. All cyber investigations had to do was check the activity log of the computer to get the times and dates of which our activity was transferred to that 16 terabyte hard drive we used. It showed that I accessed the server with a USB device at 3 a.m. Monday through Friday, right at closing time. Actually, quite a bit after closing time, but I digress. Secondly, we were not selective about who we targeted. We did not care. Spam Daniel's family had ties to local government and had influence necessary to get the Maryland Police Department to move. The runner was meant to be used to pin the failure on someone else if things gone wrong. Unfortunately, all of the money in the fake bank accounts got transferred to one bank account, Joe Loanshark's bank account. So, therefore, all Cyber had to do was link my runner's bank activity to my account to issue a warrant. Also, the runner was a horrible liar, and he was extremely stupid, so he ratted us out. None of the police had Joe in my name. And this was the final nail in the coffin. Finally, Joe's ego was the final piece. One night when he was drinking more than usual, he was bragging to some upscale escort that's prostitute that's a fancy name for prostitute, about how he conned spam. I'm usually with him on the weekends, keeping him from saying dumb stuff, but I was busy at the apartment trying to cover up the mistakes I made by attempting to destroy the equipment we used in the operation. I couldn't help him. I'm the guy that makes sure he don't say dumb stuff. And I couldn't help him. Real horrible. So what ended up happening was the escort took exception to us scamming kids and reported Joe to the police. When the police questioned Joe, he started antagonizing them and got arrested for disorderly conduct. When the cops ran a background check on Joe, a warrant for his name came up. They also ran a background check on me, and once they knew I was associated with Joe. After that night, Sunnybrook closed down, and the police arrested me in my apartment. Now I sit in jail as I record this, for future criminals or your amusement, whatever comes first. And that is the story how I got caught as Leon Fraud, scumbag extraordinaire. And with that, this is truly the end of my practical exam. Thank you and have a good night.